Fantasy. Fantasy is one of a literal genre in Philippine literature. Fantasy, it is a features of magical and supernatural elements that do not exist in the real world. The example of fantasy is Superman, Wonder Woman, Supergirl, Frozen, and here in the Philippines is Darna. Tiptoe through the window. Horror is a genre of a literature, film and television that meant to scare, shock, or even repulse the reader and the audience. The key to success or the key to focus of the horror genre is to exist and to drive the reader through frightening image, themes, situation, and even the background music. Example are Amityville Horror, Friday the 13th, and The Conjuring, and The Exorcism of Emily Rose.
What's up guys, I am Elder Lishan P. Vergara and my topic is all about science fiction.
So, what is science fiction? Science fiction is a genre of speculative fiction that typically deals with imaginative and futuristic concepts such as advanced science and technology, space, exploration, time travel, parallel universes, and extraterrestrial life. So, here I have two examples of science fiction, and these are
Ready Player One and Star Wars.
You're nothing but a second grade, trying hard, copycat. Chicklet. It is a personal growth of a woman or a small group of women. It is described as consisting of heroine-centered narratives that focus on the trials and tribulations of their individual protagonists. The genre often addresses issues of modern womanhood, from romantic relationships to female friendships to matters in the workplace in humorous and light-hearted ways. Examples are The Devil Wears Prada, The Princess Diaries, The Mean Girls, and The Hunger Games. These are examples of chicklit. Now, we're going forward to flash fiction. It is a very short story and is also known as sudden fiction, short stories, microfiction, and microstories. Example is Chapter 5 by Ernest Hemingway. This story from his collection, In Our Time, that follows the typical arc of great flash fiction by starting with a straightforward but descriptive sentence to get the scene. Second example of flash fiction is Styx by George Saunders. This excerpt is from a 1995 story that's become a modern classic of the microfiction form.
Hello everyone, I'm Sairani Muti and I'm going to talk about the type of literary genre, humor. Humor is something that is funny, comical, or amusing, especially as expressed in literature or speech is inevitable or in no way escapable. It makes one's life more bearable, exciting, and worthwhile. It is a literary tool that makes the audience or readers laugh. There are many types of humor, and sometimes what appears humorous to one person may not be humorous to another. Humor can be found in movies and books, in jokes and everyday situations of life. Humor is very important in a literary piece because it breaks monotony. boredom, and captivates the interest of readers or audience. When we say monotony, it is a situation in which something stays the same and is therefore boring. An example of monotony is when you do the exact same boring task at your job every single day. Writers use literary devices such as exaggeration or hyperbole, irony, and sarcasm to bring our humor to their workpiece. Example of humor in a novel or movie is Forrest Gump. This is the first edition book. Forrest Gump is a 1986 novel by Winston Groom. The title character retells the adventures ranging from shrimp boating and ping pong championships to thinking about his childhood love as he bumbles his way through American history with everything from the Vietnam War and college football becoming part of the story. In 1994, the story was adapted to movie form and the film of the same name was released by Paramount Pictures. Forrest was played by Tom Hanks and the movie went on to win 6 Academy Awards.
2 months, 14 days and 16 hours.
Another example of humor in a Filipino movie is Moron 5.
Sabihin mo nga sa kanila, gamitin mo ang salitang kampante sa padamdam na pangungusap. Sabihin mo!
Ma'am, maganda po kayo.
Salamat!
Pero wala kampante.
Hey!
Bata pa!
Ka-nerky, sila'y bobo! Kaya ayun, laging napapatrobol!
Mauna na kayo. Ano ba? Find your art dapat. Ang gugulo nyo? Ako ang dapat sa uli. Ako ang pinakamataba. Ano naman ang kinalaman ng taba mo sa pila natin? Bakit? Sa barbecue, may nakita na ba kayong nauuna ang taba?
Last but not the least, what do you call a pig that does karate? A pork chop. If you got the answer right, you might have a good sense of humor. If not, then you might have a different sense of humor. With a healthy dose of humor, we not only cope more easily with everyday life, but also during particularly difficult and challenging times, especially when we have a terrible day, private or job-related issues, or even health problems. Humor provides to be our knight in shining armor. It does not change our problems itself, but it does lower our stress levels and helps us see the world with different eyes.
With all the evidences pointed at him, and he doesn't have an alibi for the time of the murder, I think he's the killer. Oh, you're already there. So the next literary genre is mystery. It is a literary genre that talks and follows about the crime like murder or disappearance of someone from the moment it is committed until the moment it is solved. There is a private eye, a detective, or a private investigator that is trying to solve a case, and they are often the main characters of the story. Mystery is often called whodunits because they turn the readers into a detective trying to figure out who the killer or the murderer is. The best examples for this literary genre are the films and books of Sherlock Holmes and Nancy Drew. I mean, who doesn't know them, right? Next is the historical fiction. It is a literary genre that tells a story that takes place at the past, of course because of the word history, which means the past. It also transports the readers and viewers into an imaginary event or a real event that takes place at the past. Historical fiction captures the details of the time period as accurate as possible for authenticity, including the social norms, the way that people dress, their customs, and even traditions. The best example for historical fiction in films is Les Miserables because it tells about the story that takes place in the French Revolution. And the best example for this in books is All the Light We Cannot See by Anthony Doerr. That sums up the historical fiction.
Realistic fiction is a genre consisting of stories that could have actually occurred to people or animals in a believable setting. These stories resembles real life, and the fictional characters within these stories react similarly to real people.